behind the scenes, it was falling to pieces. When my hair was falling out and I was losing weight, yeah, like I wouldn't have, it was a hard time. But now I know that I needed to go through that to put me in the position that I'm in now. I hired them to work on and deliver. They were going behind my back and drawing down funding for them to run the project that I've given them the idea for, and I'm paying them to commercialise.
Oh wow.
The summer of 2015 was a bit of a mad one. I had my daughter in July, sold the business in August, started my MBA in the September. And behind the scenes of that, my mum had gone in for a routine operation, ended up in a coma, she was on life support. I often lead with the finance successes because they're the ones that people sit up and take notice of.
Of course.
But actually, and I will get to them, but actually some of my favorite kind of successes with my clients are not financial at all. I get people together, and that's why people are able to achieve the success that they are when they work with me, because I get people together very quickly.
Get them into shape.
Yes.
This is the Promisingpreneur podcast, and today I'm here with Daniella Genas, who is literally the boss. Like, her whole business is called The Boss, right?
We've got She's the Boss, we've got Be the Boss, and we're going to have the Boss Builder coming soon.
Oh,
So
we've got new
everything
businesses coming. This
Yes.
is fun. Thank you so much for coming down today.
Thanks for having
You've
me.
come all the way from Birmingham.
Yeah, and it looks like it's going to be a drama to get home.
You'll be fine. You'll be fine. We've got the powers of the Promisingpreneur upon this.
I hope and pray.
But no, massive thank you for coming down so far. I'm gonna get straight into it because we met about a year ago.
Yeah, yeah.
A whole year ago now.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary. In Nigeria, which was a trip of a lifetime.
It really was. I enjoyed myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A number of laughs, a number of dances.
Mm-hmm.
And all kinds of things that went on that trip. What would you say, since we met, has been your biggest highlight this year?
Oh, it's a big question. There's been so many. I feel like one of the biggest highlights for me is personal growth.
Oh.
So one of the biggest highlights actually was last night. So I always say I'm very introverted, which people always say, but you're always on Instagram and blah, blah, blah. But it's true. I'm actually naturally quite shy.
Yeah.
And yesterday I came to London, went to an event on my own that I'd been invited to. Normally I would have cancelled because I had a bad tendency of doing that. I'd say, yeah, I'm going to do it. And then when it gets near to the time, I'll be like, actually,
chicken out.
I'm not doing that. I'm sick.
Yeah, right.
And yesterday I took myself there, went in. It turned out that I was part of the event, which I didn't even know. So they had me on the big screen. I went and introduced myself to people, which I hate doing.
Wow.
Turns out I knew a few people in the room as well. And I had a great time. And for me, that is a big highlight because it shows the progression that I've had on my entrepreneurial journey. It's only taken me, 16 years to get there, but
yeah, we get there.
Better late than never and all that. So I'd say that's one of the biggest highlights actually, which in terms of timing is great because it was yesterday. Yeah.
That's really good. What was the event?
It was the Chartered Management Institute's President Dinner and Awards Ceremony at the Natural History Museum, which, by the way, is gorgeous.
Yeah.
When we pulled up, I said to the Uber driver, "Where is it?" And I was like, "There." Wow.
Wow, you're
and then
so
we went,
not a Londoner.
No, I'm not. I was just like, what is this? I was like, what is that? And then we've gone in and they've got all the dinosaur stuff. It was pretty cool. So
yeah, that's actually my favourite museum.
Really, I've never been, so I'm like, I need to come back and take my daughter.
Yeah.
I
don't know what it is. I just love like artifacts and Egypt and dinosaurs and like old stuff. Yeah, anyway.
It's pretty cool. So yeah, I enjoyed that.
Oh, wicked.
Yeah.
So you went to the Chartered
Management Institute, so the CMI for sure.
Okay, so how has that come about? What is your background? What have you done in life? If you give us a
so I was actually there yesterday by fluke because it doesn't really have anything to do generally with what I do.
I would love that.
I was asked to speak at an event last year by the CMI. They liked what they saw. They asked me to be part of their documentary on race and ethnicity for their 75-year anniversary. I was featured in that. Apparently they loved me because I was at the beginning of the trailer last night. And then they invited me to this. But in terms of my kind of background, this is my third business. She's the Boss, Be the Boss. We're going for a rebrand at the moment. Mm-hmm. And prior to running this business, I had kind of half of a business for a little period of time with a friend. And before that, I ran a business for 8 years, specialising in event management, youth training. It was a community interest company, so social enterprise, operating for more than profit, as opposed to not for profit. The problem is I didn't really make a profit.
All right.
So the business was doing really well for many, many years, and then it wasn't, and went through a lot of kind of what I would say is a really turbulent time. This was in 2015, and therefore sold the business, not by choice, by force, which is then how I ended up doing what I'm doing now. Prior to that, obviously I've come up from Birmingham. You may be able to notice I don't have a Birmingham accent.
Not at all.
Although people keep saying to me actually recently that I do. And I'm like, I don't think that I do. But anyway, I was born in Birmingham, but I was raised in Nottingham.
Okay.
And I went back to Birmingham when I went to do my undergraduate degree. But the upbringing in Nottingham, kind of the story that you always hear. Inner city, I was in a 2-parent family for a period, then I wasn't, kind of struggles, and from a very early age, I would say, looking back, demonstrated entrepreneurial traits. So getting paid to plait people's hair in maths class and getting kicked out, babysitting, washing cars for people, and also always kind of having this thing in my mind that I'm going to be rich, and I don't know how or when, but it's going to happen, and I'm going to make it happen for myself. So I've never been one of those, oh, I'm going to win the lottery type of people. It's like, I'm going to make this happen.
Do people have that thought?
Yeah, they do. I know a lot of people that say stuff like that.
Oh.
I would like to win the lottery, that would be great, but I'm not pinning my hopes of success in life on winning the lottery, particularly because I don't play the lottery. But yeah, so the journey really has always been about 2 things for me. One is helping people, and I suppose I didn't necessarily realise how much that was a core thread. We talk about purpose a lot, and for me, with my first business, the purpose was very clear. I want to help young people. When I started this business, whilst I wanted to help business owners, the mindset was very different, and I didn't necessarily recognise that the same thread had ran through the businesses. So my purpose wasn't necessarily what I thought it was, which is to help young people. The purpose was to help people generally, whether that's young people, whether that's business owners, etc. And then the second kind of purpose has been to achieve economic, financial freedom, let's just say. Not there yet, but I'm on the way. I'm fingers crossed we'll get there soon.
We're there. We're there.
Well, I don't have my big dream house yet, but it's coming. I believe that it's going to be here soon.
I believe it too, because honestly, you show up consistently. Like since we've connected a year ago, I have not seen you die down. Like, you show up consistently, and if there's one key to success that everybody talks about, is consistency. What I want to pick up on is that you said it was a turbulent time when you went through your first original business, that was the CIC. Yeah. Right? That CIC, why was it so turbulent? And what was it that, because there's a number of people that want to do loads of things with youth that I know, honestly. I even started, my whole company originally started off as a business, but also there was a social enterprise arm to it as well. So I did go down the route of getting grants and being able to get funding and all that kind of stuff to be able to put on youth events or youth training with lashes and things like that. Why was it that you didn't turn over a profit, do you think?
I didn't know what I was doing. That's the first thing. It wasn't necessarily even because it was a social enterprise. It was because I just didn't know what I was doing. And I was just working it out as I was going along. And actually, I focused, even as a social enterprise, you're still a business. Yeah. And we weren't a business. I was a social project, or a series of social projects. And because of that, the priority never really was generating revenues for the business. The priority for me always was providing those opportunities for young people. That's what I enjoyed, that's what lighted me up, and that's where I therefore spent most of my time, rather than building up the commercial side of the business, which was corporate celebration events. I didn't want to do corporate celebration events. I didn't like we had some corporate contracts and I didn't enjoy them. I didn't enjoy having to go back and forth with people about, I think this is a great idea, and they're saying, actually, no, it's not, we don't want that. And making it basically boring. you're hiring us to do exciting events, but now you're making us do a boring event. I didn't enjoy it. And because of that, it was quite evident that I prioritized my time in the area that I did enjoy at the kind of, at the detriment, I'd say, of the building of the business. And outwardly, nobody necessarily knew that, because outwardly we had our offices, there was a team, I was winning awards, I was speaking at events, not only across the UK, but internationally as well. So outwardly, everybody was like, yeah, she's
So
like
that's
living.
what it looked like it was success.
But behind the scenes, it was falling to pieces for at least a year and a half. And I was doing things to try and rectify it, but even in the process of doing those things, I still wasn't remaining consistent. And I didn't really have any accountability, and I think that was also a significant factor, because there was not really anybody to keep me in check. You said you're going to contact these corporate event people, you said you're going to contact 100 in the next 2 weeks. How many have you contacted? If someone was actually asking me that, and then I was going back and saying, well, actually 2, because the first one said no and the second didn't answer the phone, then I gave up.
So actually none.
Then yeah, maybe I would have been. And I think accountability is really important, and accountability is part of what I do now. And everything that I experienced in that first business, and that's just the top bit. There's so much other things that happened. I was sued, had people steal and literally steal projects that I'd hired them to work on and deliver. They were going behind my back and drawing down funding for them to run the project that I've given them the idea for, and I'm paying them to commercialize.
Oh wow.
Yeah, there was a lot of, it was very stressful. It was a very stressful time. And kind of in the last period before I sold the business, I was also pregnant. So in terms of the timeline, 2015, the summer of 2015 was a bit of a mad one. I had my daughter in July, sold the business in August, started my MBA in the September. And behind the scenes of that, and I said before, I was living in Birmingham, but I was raised in Nottingham. My family were in Nottingham. My mum had gone in for a routine operation the year before in the December, and had basically everything went a bit AWOL. Ended up in a coma, was on life support for pretty much most of my pregnancy. So I was also dealing with that behind the scenes. So I'm up and down on the motorway. I've gone from, had all this staff, had a team of staff, and we'd taken the decision to stop applying for funding. And each time a fund came to the end, then we lost a member of staff. So whereas kind of in the early part of the business and even the middle, I would work from home because there was too many people in the office. And by the end, it was just me and my one member of staff left, Charlene, and this big office. So it was a really stressful time, but it was the best thing that ever happened to me. And I don't necessarily think that I know for a fact that at the time I wouldn't have thought that.
Yeah.
When my hair was falling out and I was losing weight, I wouldn't have. It was a hard time. But now I know that I needed to go through that to put me in the position that I'm in now. And had I not experienced that, I wouldn't have probably had as much fire. So when you talk about consistency, I'm consistent because I know what can happen when I'm not consistent.
Right.
And that's why, as much as it was a hard time, I wouldn't change it. It needed to happen. And also, if it hadn't happened, I wouldn't be able to support my clients in the way that I am able to, because everything that I learn is what part of it is what I then impart on my clients. And I can say, well, actually, if you keep doing that, or if you don't start doing that, this is what's going to happen. And I know because I've been there. And that's essentially it.
Number one, I want to say I'm very sorry that you went through all of that, because didn't know half of that. Didn't know half of that. And I can only imagine how stressful that would have been during pregnancy.
It was rough.
Dealing with pregnancy now, I'm like, damn. Hey.
But I think the pregnancy helped.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, because I knew that I was growing a baby inside of me. I can't afford to
motivation.
be, not even motivation. It was what helped stop me from falling to pieces.
Yeah.
So particularly, I remember when my mum was in hospital one of the days, somebody called me, a family member, and literally just started bawling down the phone. And I just hung up the phone, and I'm like, I am pregnant, which is a hormonal time. Yeah. And you're calling me and crying down the phone. What's going on here? But
I'm sorry, I love that.
just like, what? Yeah, I just hung up the phone. I'm just not doing this. And actually, again, when I reflected afterwards, I'm like, I didn't fall to pieces because I was very cognizant of the fact that they say your your baby feels your emotion. And if I am emotionally just on the floor, what is the impact that's going to have on my baby? So I try to kind of maintain a level of, obviously I was upset and different things were happening, but I tried to make sure that I maintained control. So I think if I hadn't been pregnant when I was going through that, I think it probably would have gone in. Yeah, I think it probably would have broken me, but I couldn't afford for that to happen.
I love that. That's something. So I'm taking from that right now, I'm taking a part of that, because there is definitely a side of me, like over the past, like the first 4 months of pregnancy, I felt like was genuinely like the hardest time of my life, because I was actually allowing other people's emotions and everything to affect me even more so than I probably would have ever.
Yeah.
Like, and that, I see where I went wrong there.
Yeah.
Rather than just kind of shut off and be like,
yeah, and
actually no, this is really about me and this baby growing. That's
it's hard to do, because obviously you're in a heightened emotional state anyway, but people can be very ignorant and selfish and about them, and they don't necessarily stop to think what that might be doing to you. So I was very ruthless, and I said one family member I put the phone down on. There's actually one of my mum's friend called. I remember her screaming down the phone. I didn't even answer her. I just pressed the hang up button and that was it.
Sorry, reception.
No, I didn't even do that. It was beep. I'm not doing this today. And that's literally the kind of approach that I took, but it was intentional.
Yeah.
And I think, obviously for you now, hopefully you're out of that phase, but as you continue in your pregnancy, just remember it is about you and the baby, and cut off the noise. Like,
now I know.
Yeah, cut off
now
that noise.
I know. What would you say that, so you said it was something that you definitely knew that you had to go through, right? All of that adversity, all at the same time, you had to go through that. What would you say, do you remember so you said that you gave birth and you sold the business in the August, yeah? Do you remember what was going through your mind at that time?
What am I going to do? And who am I? I think for a long period of time, well, not even I think, as a fact, for a long period of time, my identity was very much wrapped up in the business and being the founder of the business, being this entrepreneur, this award-winning entrepreneur, the speaker. And as much as I've never been a huge networker, I was very kind of well-known within the social space at that time. And it was like, okay, if the business is gone, who is Daniella now? Like, who am I? I'm a student and I'm a mom. And I'd always heard of people saying they lost their identity when they became a mom and they were just mom. And I'm like, that's nonsense. You're still going to be who you are. But actually for me, because it's not like I was on maternity leave, like there was no business left. So actually, what value am I adding? And it's funny now because people always say, oh, you was doing an MBA with a newborn baby. That's amazing. But at the time, it really just felt like, oh, I'm a mom and a student. This is dry. What is this? So my kind of main focus was I need to work out what the next step is. What business am I going to start so that I can go back to being an entrepreneur, a business owner. I didn't like the idea of just being a mom and a student.
Oh.
And no disrespect to anyone that is a mom, because it's a big job. But I think that there are people that can build their identity around being a mother, and then there's people that don't. And I'm a don't person. I love being a mom, but I also love being in business. So for me, that was really what I was feeling. Like I just don't know what I'm supposed to be doing and who I'm supposed to be
anymore.
Okay.
Like I literally couldn't relate with you anymore. I've actually never heard anybody say exactly what I said to my partner probably about 2 weeks ago. Like literally, because I was like, this is not it.
No.
I have to be doing something. I can't just stop.
Yeah, and the thing is, some people need to stop, and that's okay for them. But that's not something I'm trying to do. Yeah. And I remember one of my friends at the time, I got so angry, was saying, why are you doing an MBA? Why are you studying? I think that's really selfish. You're supposed to be at home with your baby right now. By the way, I'm at home with my baby. She's bored, I'm bored. I don't want to be going to the mommy groups. I tried a few, they were dry. Actually, the fact that her...
No bashment.
Oh my gosh, it was so dry. Hated them. And actually, me having something to focus on means that when I am spending the time with her, it's more productive time rather than I'm sitting here mopping floors. And I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
If that's what you want to do, then by all means. And actually, it didn't turn into a big argument or anything, but I think she respected that. And then when she saw what then came out of me doing the MBA, she was like, yeah, I was wrong. Yeah, you were.
Duh.
Yes, you were. And also, I got a scholarship. It was free. I'm not going to say no to...
Oh, no, of course not.
Yeah, so...
No, of course not.
But again, no disrespect to any mum that wants to just be a mum. I actually really admire stay-at-home mothers because I'm like, I couldn't do it. These kids, like my daughter, she mads me. When it's weekend time, I'm like, right, where are we going? Because if we stay in this house, I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So we need to keep it moving. But I know for some, that's where they draw their happiness from.
Yeah, of course. After, so 7 years?
Yeah.
7 years later, today, you have the boss. Is it going to be the boss?
Well, no, it's going to be the boss.
Be the boss.
Yeah, be the boss.
So be the boss, and
she's the boss.
she's the boss. And
Boss Builder. That's going to be launching next year.
so what is the essence of those businesses? If you're enjoying this podcast so far, this is only going to annoy you if you're a hater. Click subscribe, click follow, and drop a quick comment. And if you've done all of those already, then send me a 5-star review, because honestly, it's the only way we survive on the internet. Thank you.
So it's one business, but with multiple strands. So She's the Boss is me, my personal brand, me doing talks on business, personal development, my entrepreneurial journey, as well as workshops. So you attended one the other day, Vision 20 workshop, which is one of my favourite things to do in life. And it's really about supporting individuals to get clarity on where they're trying to take themselves and their lives, their careers, their businesses, etc. So that will be She's the Boss. Ideally, what I really want to do is write books, do international speaking engagements. I'm trying to get flown out or flued out, as the young people would say. That's the goal. Like, I want someone to say, right, we need you in Trinidad.
Yes, please.
All expenses paid. We're going to have a driver pick you up from the hotel. So that's where I'm pushing that. Be the Boss is going to be what She's the Boss is now, which is the business support. So we have coaching, consultancy, mentoring, training packages. We're going to be launching the business growth online learning management system. Yeah, that's it. Learning management system pretty soon. So I've developed, when I was doing the MBA, based on my research and kind of the last couple of years prior to launching the business, I really was focusing on the success factors for growth businesses and created the VISA framework, which is vision, innovation, strategy, systems and processes, and accountability, because remember I said that was key. So we've taken that, and that's what I've been kind of delivering with my clients through the packages that we provide. With the learning management system or the online e-learning kind of online courses, we're going to be taking that same framework. We're putting it into training programs so that people are able to access that without me having to do
more on demand.
Yeah, one-to-one stuff. They can do it at their own leisure. And then we also, with Be the Boss, there will still be workshops, digital, got lots of digital products, etc. And really the aim is to help small business owners scale their businesses 6, 7, 8 figures, and in a way that is not dependent on the founder of the business. And this is a huge lesson that I learned in the first business. If everything is running through you, the business cannot grow, it cannot scale. And actually it's just going to kill you off, and we're not trying to die young. And there's something that I read in a book earlier this year, actually, was it a book? Yeah, it was a book. I don't remember the book though. I just remember the story. They're saying that this guy was he wanted to retire by 50. So he was running his business and basically doing everything. And then he retired at 50. A week later, was mowing his grass and died of a heart attack. And I remember reading that and saying, yeah, this is why it's really important that you don't build your business to be reliant on you, because then you're doing all of this and you're not thinking about the impact on your health. So whilst I'm consistent, I'm also very much about the systems and the processes, the automations, what can be outsourced. And that's really what I support my clients with, in addition to all of the other kind of key areas. Then with the Boss Builder, which is what we're going to be launching hopefully by Q3 next year, that's going to be a train the trainer. So for any other business owners, coaches, consultants, mentors who want to join the Be the Boss family and become kind of, I don't know what they're going to be called, the bosses, whatever, seems a big name. Something.
The tribe.
I'll work on it. But then, well, again, rather than if you work with Be the Boss, you have to work with me, you'll be able to work with one of these people that have been trained in the framework and in the delivery.
Nice.
So that's
There's a lot happening.
Yeah.
Over the past couple of years since you've been running She's the Boss, you've had some major successes with your clients. Talk to me about those.
I love talking about my clients. And the thing is, I often lead with the finance successes because they're the ones that people sit up and take notice of.
Of course.
But actually, and I will get to them, but actually some of my favorite kind of successes with my clients are not financial at all. So I have quite a few clients that have come to me, and one of the kind of key areas we're focused on is around strategy and personal brand strategy. And there's 2 clients in particular that kind of, I'm scared of doing public speaking, and it's a really big thing. And working with them, kind of with the training them around public speaking and personal brand strategy, one of them has gone kind of out of the stratosphere. Like I never would have imagined that their personal brand would have kind of exploded in the way that it has. TV, multiple award wins, launched a podcast, doing really fantastic stuff. And then my other client, he didn't want to do any of that. He's got a very successful business, but he just wanted to be able to go into meetings where there's more than one person and feel confident speaking. And I remember we'd done our final speaking coaching session. And a week later, he had to go to London for a meeting with a client, thinking that he was only presenting to one person. Went in, they took him into a lecture theatre and the whole company was there.
Oh no.
And he said, all he thought in his head was, Daniella is a witch. Because I said to him, you don't know when you may be in a situation where you didn't even foresee that you would need to speak publicly, to follow these steps. So he said he laughed to himself and said, yeah, she's a witch, because she knew this was going to, because it was literally a week later. And then he did it. And now he still doesn't like public speaking, but he is confident in knowing that he can do it. And I love that. They're some of the kind of key outcomes that make me happy.
Yeah.
The finance stuff is great, but actually those kind of things. So when I've had clients that have come to me, very low self-esteem, lacking confidence, and then they come back and they're like, I'm the boss, I can do this. I love that. And then I've had, obviously, the clients that have gone through the roof financially. One of my favourites, because it's my brother, company in Nottingham, Link 3 Recruitment. 3 of them, one of them is my brother. Started working with them. They were already a 6-figure business, but I went in, helped them with a variety of things, particularly around the systems and processes. And now they're doing 4.1 million turnover. Something thereabouts. And obviously it's my brother, so it makes me even happier. Like, yay, we're all winning in this family.
Yeah.
And then obviously, you know, Neo, my other favourite company. Neo, I was working with Oyen from 2019, and I met her and I was like, this is me. Well, she's younger than me, but let's say 10 years before. And actually, let me be to her what I needed and I didn't have. And her journey has been fantastic. And obviously, you've seen it. The business has exploded. They're a 7-figure turnover company now in a completely different space. When we first started working together, it was purely around hair, but now they're doing tech. And I'm really proud to see that as well. And then I have the clients that come to me. So Taran, who was on the podcast.
That was literally one of the reasons why I needed you to come on, because I was like, I've had Taran on here, I've had Oyen on here, and they both are prodigies of you, right? So we need to know who the boss is.
Yeah, no, he came to me and he was like, I'm so stressed, I'm overwhelmed, I don't have no time for anything. And then I saw him at a Neo event a couple of weeks after we finished the work that he was doing around systemizing his business, etc. And he was like, I've been on holiday. And it's amazing. And seeing the happiness and the joy in his face, I was like, yes, this is what makes me happy. He said his wife was like, how come you're so relaxed? It's like, because everything is under control. He said, I've got about 40% of my time back. Like, I feel like I am in charge of the business now as opposed to the business being in charge of me.
Yeah.
And that's what I love. So, yeah, there's so many different ways. Like, obviously, let me toot my own horn. There's so many ways that I've had an impact on so many different businesses. And the finance part is great, but it's those kind of things that really light me up and make me happy. Like, I'm making a difference in their life, not just the business. And also those people that have done Vision 20 with me, who have come back and they've actualized the vision. That is amazing. So one of my other clients, we did their Vision 20 in 2019. And I remember walking into their offices and I was like, we mapped this out and we're here. Like, it's happened. I love that. That
I've
makes
started
me
my
really
Vision
happy.
20.
Get to it.
I've started it. I'm excited. I'll be honest, I'm still in the middle of it because just so many things are changing. So it's like, what is my priorities, and how do I want to do this? Because prior to all of that, I haven't even I practically had a Vision 20. Like, my notion is extent. Like, I have every aspect of living, every aspect you can think of, right? Like relationships, family, partner, ain't got partners.
Slow down now.
Whoops. Partner, family, work life, home life, future family, how I want my living room to look is mapped out. Like that detailed. And I can't lie to you, I feel like everything's down the drain.
Why? Why is it down the drain?
Because I'm looking at it like everything that is happening now, as in pregnancy happening now, is what I wanted, but it was like maybe a year down the line.
Listen.
So I'm like, oh,
listen.
How do I do all of this but make it fit into this new timeline?
You can make it work, honestly. And
yeah,
I think
your help.
yeah, honestly, I think one of the challenges that we have as women in today's society is this idea of, well, I'm having a baby, therefore I can't do everything because the baby's going to be... And let me not lie to you, it's hard. I was very blessed because my daughter slept fantastically. I see some people with their kids that are waking up 4, 5, 6 times a night, and I'm like, I would absolutely drop dead. I would, because I said it when I came here, I need like 8.5 hours sleep, or I'm just not any use to anyone. But there's ways and means. So I did an MBA, by the way. I got a distinction for my MBA. I did a master's when I was young, free and single, and I did not get a distinction. I got a commendation, it was great, but I didn't get a distinction. Yeah. Having a child gives you a whole new level of motivation that you've never experienced before, because now I'm doing it for you. Yeah. And doing it for yourself, like, obviously you want success for yourself, but it's a bit wishy-washy. Like, it's just people talk about wanting to get fit. And you know that you want to get fit, and when you put on your clothes and they don't look right, you get angry with yourself, and then you say, I'm going to work out 3 times a week and I'm going to eat properly, and then you don't. Yeah. When it's for someone else and someone that you grew inside of you, it changes everything. And where previously you may have said, oh, I'm tired, I'm not doing that, oh, I can't be bothered. The child is looking at you. We can't do it.
I can't put you back.
Yeah, like, you're here now, and actually I want to provide you with the best experiences. Like, nothing motivates me more than my daughter saying to me, I want to go on holiday, Mom. And I'm like, right, we need to make this happen, because she's like me. She don't like the cold. She wants to be on the beach. So I'm saying every school holiday, we need to be flying out. Therefore, I need to get my money up to enable us to do that, because that's what she wants. And not to say we have to give our children everything that we want, but I want to give my child everything that I never had. Yeah. And that is a motivator. So don't let the fact that you're having a baby make you feel like you can't. That's what makes you know that you can, because now you have to, because you need to do it for him or her.
Preach. I got you. No worry. This Vision 20 is going to be, I'm going to show you and you're going to be like, oh, okay, this can work. However, you might have to do X, Y, Z.
Yeah, it's about the ways and means, right? I would say make the vision plain and then work out how to do it. Yeah. Don't start with what you just said. I can't do it because. No, start with, this is what I want. What do I need to do to get there? And that's essentially how I've lived my life for the last few years, and it's worked. Like I said on the Vision 20 session that we had, the house that I'm living with now is a house that I drew. Yeah. I'd pull up to my drive every day like, yes, look what we've done. Yeah. And actually, yeah, if you are clear on what it is that you want, you can then start to work out how. And what we often do as people is we do it in reverse, and that's why we don't get to where we want to get to, because we don't really know. We think about the process as opposed to the destination. Yeah. I say start with the destination and work out the process. Yeah.
Do you know what the maddest thing is? Like, as you just said that, I have a YouTube video that I put out beginning of last year, maybe. Like random one that I was doing with another company, and the whole video is me explaining that literally just that, right? And I remember in the video you've got a train going past, and I'm like, you're never gonna get on a train and not know the destination. You're always gonna know the destination. Like, so everything you're saying, and that's the facts about life, right? Just right there and then. Everything you've just said, I've known for years because I've gone through the adversity of doing it in reverse to then learn, okay, no, it's about once you've got the clarity in what you want, you will find the way to get there, right? Like even the way your brain works, it makes you move towards there's something that you're clear about, right? I know that. However, and I used to coach people on that. But when we go through our lives and we're going through adversities or we're going through changes and we're going through all these things, like when life happens, we forget.
But that's why we need accountability.
I was just about to say, the coaches need coaches.
Yeah, I have a coach.
The mentors need mentors. Like everyone that feels that they can do it by themselves, the reason why they're probably not progressing is because they think they can do it by themselves.
Yeah.
And they just X out the idea of listening to somebody else. So yeah, like I'm here. I need and want. Listen, if somebody has to remind me the exact same things over and over again, it's a blessing.
Yes.
Because that accountability is paramount.
And this is the thing. I've got a coach, I have a mentor.
Yeah.
The coaches and mentors say things to me every week that I've said 2 days before to one of my clients, the morning of. The other day I had a meeting with my mentor, and he said something to me that I'd said word for word to my client that morning. But when he said it to me, I was like, oh yeah. And this is why I always say you can try it. And there's probably been many successful people that haven't had a mentor or coach, but I promise you the majority have, because having that outside external accountability, that person that's looking at things with fresh eyes, when you're in it, sometimes you're just so deep in it that you can't see what's going on. Yeah, your judgment is clouded and you're not necessarily thinking straight. Having that external person helps you to like get it together. I get people together, and that's why people are able to achieve the success that they are when they work with me, because I get people together very quickly.
Get them into shape.
Yes.
I love that. I want to ask you one last thing before we close off, right? What would you say this year has been the biggest adversity, right, this year, that behind the scenes, so we've got all these successes with all of your clients, right? But for you, has there been anything that's happened in the past couple of years that's been like, shit?
You can't ask me that at the end. That's such a big There's many things. There's many things, but I feel like that would be too long of a conversation. I've had a lot of family challenges this year. So my grandmother, who I'm very close with, she had a stroke December, and she's been not well since. And that's been really difficult for me to be dealing with behind the scenes, not least because she's in a different city. So to try and get back and forth during COVID times, we weren't allowed in the hospital, which was absolutely flipping me out, because I'm like, I'm going to break down some doors. I told my husband one of the days, I said, listen, if I call you from the jail, you need to make sure you got that bail money ready, because I promise you I'm going to kick down a door today. And so that has been in the background, has been really tough. It's been really tough to try and continue, and it's hard because obviously I'm striving over here to build a business. I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a friend, and then my grandma is in another place, and I'm trying to prioritize making sure that I'm seeing her on a regular enough basis. So yeah, that's been, it's been tough. Not very well, to be honest. Not very well at all. It's just whatever happens each month, I try to make the time. If I can't, I try not to beat myself up about it. She knows I love her, and trying to make sure that when I do spend time with her, that I impress upon her how important she is to me. But also, she knows, because she's one of my biggest cheerleaders, she knows that this is what I'm trying to do. So that's kind of how I justify certain things in my brain.
Do you think that's really important, that you communicate clearly to the people around you what you're going through and what you're striving for.
Oh,
So they
yeah.
understand.
Yeah, I'm very vocal. People don't always understand, but unfortunately, if you don't understand, then that's not my problem. So, like, I have people that will call me incessantly, and I'm like, look, I don't really want to talk because I've been talking to my clients all day, and then I've been talking to my daughter who don't stop all evening. I just want some peace and quiet. I'm tired. And some people don't get that, but that's unfortunately not my problem. Like, sometimes you need peace and quiet.
Where do you get the kind of steadfast, this is it?
I'm a Virgo, and I feel like...
What does that mean?
I feel like that's just how we stay. This is what it is, and I don't necessarily 100% believe in horoscopes, but pretty much all of the Virgoan women I know are very similar. Like, this is black, this is white, there's no in between, this is what we're doing or this is what we're not doing.
There's no grey, there's no cream, there's no...
It's just this or it's this, and that's part of how she's the boss became she's the boss. Yeah. In my first business, one of my good friends who is now my client, and has been my client for the last few years, Nathan, he was working with me, and he said a similar thing. He's like, you're just very straight down. So he started calling me world boss. And then he'd introduce me to people and be like, oh, she's the boss. And it stuck from there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And that's just, I say to my clients all the time, or like when I'm speaking to them in the sales call, just as a disclaimer, I'm very straight to the point. I don't take excuses. If I'm not happy with something, I'm very vocal and I'll tell you. I'm never rude, and I try to do everything from a place of love and kindness.
Diplomacy.
But I am very straight to the point, blunt at sometimes.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just think it's within me.
I love that. Well, the boss, world boss. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
I really wish we could just carry on because there's so much more that I actually want to dive into. However, this won't be the last time we're seeing you, hopefully.
Bring me back.
Yes.
Because you just asked me such a big question at the end, and I'm like, should I go down that? I can't. We haven't got the time.
No, we're gonna definitely do another one. And I'm also yet to do my my round table with a few women. So I want to bring you onto that one.
Please do.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming down.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Love you loads, and I'll see you soon.
Thanks.
You was just listening to the Promisingpreneur podcast. I am Aahliyah Amerat, and thank you so much for listening all the way through. Don't forget to click subscribe and share to at least one person, because that's the only thing that's going to fuel us to carry on.